Welcome back, everybody, to Ultimate CNFT. Mike, aka Mr. Ultimate, here with you, and we've got my good friend Keif with Ad Astrium. Very excited to have him on the show here today. Keif, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me a second time. After the first recording got corrupted. Yeah, thank you so much for taking that extra work,
Hey, listen, whatever it takes to get the work done. We had a fun trial run, and it was good, and we both learned a lot about each other. I learned about your project, and there's things that obviously I know now that everybody who's watching this, they're going to get to learn as well. So I can't wait to get
Mhm.
into all that stuff with you here. But again, thank you again for your time as well. You're coming to us out of the Philippines. It's 2 a.m. for you right now. Your day's coming to a close. My day is just getting started. It's beautiful, bright, and sunny in San Diego, and it's 10 a.m. So you know what? We've got a lot to talk about. So, what I want to know first and what I want to introduce, the people to first that are watching this here is Ad Astrium. Tell me a little bit about how you got the idea for your project and the name Ad Astrium.
Well, the idea for the project, the very first time the concept of the star registry came across me was really from a brainstorming session for an NFT project, because I was really just interested in what I could make. And the parameters that we set up were what's the most feasible and achievable and marketable project that we can feasibly execute, that also offers what I would say a fix for the zero sum problem that, in my opinion, is sort of just clouding, or among crypto and NFT projects in general, generally speaking. So it was just, on this board of a dozen of other ideas, from, simple no roadmap PFP collections that would leverage on merchandise or a metaverse concept. And I didn't really give the star registry concept that much focus at that time. But what I would call the true inspiration for it happened. I already told you the story, but it happened a couple of weeks after that, which was sort of like a stroke of faith, or the stars aligning or something like that. Is when I saw a meme.
The stars aligning.
Yeah,
Right.
I yeah, I saw a meme, and actually it was a meme that was trashing NFTs, and it went sort of like NFTs are just like the new kind of star registries, essentially saying that it's all meaningless, it's a scam, it's fake, because commercial star registries are not really legitimate. Now, obviously, me reading this as someone who understands and believes in the use case of NFTs as a technology, I fully understood that this is a pretty misguided a message, and that it's coming from someone who doesn't really know or have a clue of what the real use cases and potential of NFT technology is.
I
So
would agree with that.
yeah, yeah, and in my mind, it's actually quite the opposite, and that's the
Mhm.
intrinsic values, or the intrinsic properties of NFTs actually fixes some of the most glaring and obvious problems with the star registry business model, at least
Mhm.
from my perspective. And that's sort of really where the inspiration came. Once I saw that, I had this sort of like virus inside my head, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I would, try to go to sleep, and I couldn't, because I just keep thinking about uh, how I could make this work. And the more I thought about it, the more solid the vision in my mind, or the path to where we can take this, the more solid it became, the deeper down the rabbit hole I went. So
Mm.
so yeah, that's sort of how the idea came to be. And as for your other question, the name, um, Ad Astrium is actually a combination of the Latin phrase ad astra, which means to the stars, or to the starry sky, and the word atrium.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it literally translates into to the starry atrium, which is a reference to the star map that we're creating, because it's sort of this 3D space full of stars. So quite on the nose there, actually.
Okay. All right. So the name and the idea coincide, and you mentioned some buzzwords like metaverse, and you talked about tossing around ideas, and I very much identify with what it's like to have ideas get into your brain, and then all of a sudden you can't sleep, and you become obsessed with all these things. It is like a virus, and the only way to get rid of that virus in your brain is to start to take that and put it into something, and start to build, everything you're building towards the project that you're getting to release. And it's one of the things I really like about you from talking with you earlier, and obviously our interview that we had to redo or whatever. I found that you were very intelligent, you're very humble with what you're doing, and from what I'm hearing from other people is people are really starting to notice your project. And that's the truth. A lot of people, they see this idea, and they're like, okay, this is something very, very unique. And of course, someone like myself, I have no idea what a star registry is. In fact, I learned more about what that is after we talked the first time, and I started looking into this. And I thought that the idea of star registry and owning a star or whatever, it's like you said before, you can't really own a star. But if you take an NFT, which, like you said earlier in what you were just saying, back to what you're talking about, that meme, people who don't know and don't understand NFTs, they don't understand the power and the potential that NFTs have in a wide range of things. And really, the sky and outer space, the stars, I guess you could say, in this particular conversation, are the limit. There really is no limit. And so that's why I love to feature projects like yours, and have you get a chance to talk about what you're building before it's actually built, so people can be a part of the journey of building a project like this that brings something special to the Cardano NFT space. And so we're very happy to have you here. And so I guess my next question would be, because I know a lot about you, I don't know anything about your co-founder yet. Tell me a little bit about your co-founder, a little bit about the relationship that you have with this person, and how you guys work together functionally.
Well, sure, but first I want to acknowledge, all the kind words you said, and it really means a lot to me. And of course, it helps a lot hearing from someone else that words getting around, because you know, and yeah, Parsec, or his real name is Nico. So
Mm-hmm.
we're doxed with the market. Um, we actually met way back in college. He was
Okay.
one of my best friends back then, and we sort of, drifted apart once we, uh, you know, got on with our lives. I had a family, and he was doing his own thing. But then we reconnected, quite recently. Well, it's not recent anymore. It was like the beginning of last year's bull run, when, because it's just in our circle of friends, not really a lot of people are into crypto, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
anyone
Mm-hmm.
into crypto, is sort of like a kindred spirit immediately. And
Yeah. Yeah, we always
of
have a
course
lot to
we had,
talk about, don't we?
yes, and of course we all had all that history already, and it just made it so much easier to to reconnect with him. So when we when I had this idea for an NFT project, it was a no-brainer. It had to be him. And it's not just that we were friends, it's also that he is uniquely suited for this type of project, because his background is in digital advertising, and
Mm.
he became a creative director for one of the top local advertising firms at a peculiarly young age. So he was like 22 when he became a creative director.
Wow.
And now that he's 31, he works for a company called 500 Designs, which is supposed to be the best LA brand agency with clients like Google, 3M, and even Discord, actually. And
I've never heard of
um,
any of those those companies.
yeah, so from all the way over here in the Philippines, he oversees around 20 LA-based digital advertising guys who are, yeah, all the way in California. And
Wow.
yeah, that's my co-founder. Just
Hey, what a great person to have on your team. Let me tell you. I mean, that sounds like, you know, uh, taking what you do and taking what he does is going to work, real well together for you. And, good for you. And especially to have a relationship, like you said, this person, personally, you went to school with this person. You guys became friends. Now you have common ground. A lot of times, crypto can be very, very common ground for a lot of people. NFTs as well, especially you get a couple of NFT geeks in a room, man, and it's like everybody else gets tuned out of that conversation. And there's so much to talk about, with crypto and NFTs, and kind of how one led to the other. And blockchain being this creation that allows all of, people like yourself and people like myself and people like some of the founders and builders in the space to come and showcase their creativity, through technology and adding art to it and ideas. And it's just, what a beautiful space and what a beautiful time to be where we're at. And so, I'm sure you're as excited to be, now becoming that journey of a founder, as well as somebody who, is as a fan of NFTs and crypto. So good on you, man. Good for your relationship with your partner, because, relationships with your partner are crucial. And, that leads me to another question, actually. So you said that you went to college with him. Tell me a little bit about, what you do for a living, I suppose you could say, as well as what you're doing here, developing a project, but, your education, your background, what is it that you bring that you, I suppose, have in your personal life, that allows you to become a founder and do your part is as kind of like the yin to the yang of your partner.
Well, sure. So my background is in marketing and sales. So that's what I studied. I studied marketing management in college, and for most of my, my fiat mining career, I worked in one of the leading corporate real estate and business consultancy and solution firms in our country.
Okay.
And I've I've maintained and built a pretty good network there. So being able to expand and find talent and fill in the gaps as we grow our business is something that's sort of my, my, I wouldn't say specialty, but it's sort of easy for us because I'm well connected to that to that. But in terms of the project itself, it's I would say credit to my marketing education is how I was able to construct or plan out this entire concept from basically scratch, just taking
Mm-hmm.
from the traditional star registry business model, and remixing it with Web3 concepts, and
Right, right.
pretty, yeah, pretty much wrote everything from the ground up, and still continuing to tweak it and fine tune it every day. But besides that, I'm actually the only person in our team who's comfortable enough to face the crypto market, because the rest of them say that I'm the best one in speaking in English, which I don't know if that's saying much, but yeah. So I also have to be the face, and I have to manage the Discord, and I handle the Twitter, I handle all the socials. Yeah, every word that gets released by our project comes from me.
That's actually quite amazing, to be honest with you, because there's so much you can do. The word founder. Sometimes the founder is also the artist. Sometimes the founder is, maybe just the person who's developing the project and not necessarily the face of the project or involved in the Discord. I mean, for you to be able to have all of these aspects in just you makes you a pretty, crucial component of this project. I mean, I know what it's like to be on the founder's seat. I know what it's like to be on the investor's seat, and there's a lot that goes on there. So congratulations, and I'd say kudos to you for coming on and doing being willing to take on all those things. And a little bit about the private conversation we've had, if you don't mind me sharing. This is your first interview. I mean, the one that we did obviously didn't make it to print because there were some technical issues. But the truth is you came on here and you stepped outside of your comfort zone, which I think your comfort zone is already it's a pretty big comfort zone. Being able to communicate people even through Discord and all those things, and Twitter, running all those things, that's a full-time job. And so for you to be like, hey, I'm going to come in, I'm going to be able to start doing interviews, aside from all the other things you do, like Twitter spaces and all that, just shows that you're willing to step outside and do those things. And that's honestly, what it takes, in my opinion, for founders to be really good at everything. You have to be willing to do those things. So, thank you for being here, and thank you for showing us, your pretty face out there. And you know what, you're very well spoken as well. So if it falls on you because you speak the best English, and that is important, by the way. I mean, the United States is a big part of the investment branch of people who are into crypto, people who are into NFTs. English being such a worldwide spoken language, that's crucial, man. And so that definitely bodes well for you guys as well. And so tell me a little bit about, how long have you been developing this project? Because I know that we've been speaking for a while now. back and forth in chat, and we've had a couple conversations, a lot of texting back and forth. But this isn't something that popped up yesterday. Tell me a little bit about the journey of when did you actually start the developing process of Ad Astrium?
All right. So when I got the idea, that was around this time last year, actually, when I saw that meme and all that story, yeah, that the entire story. But I sort of sat on that idea, just thinking about it and trying to write the base of it, semi seriously, for quite a while, like maybe 3 months. But
Okay.
ballparking it, I'd say around 10 months ago is when I really seriously started creating the business plan and everything from scratch. But our team, our team was only formed around 6 months ago, and that's when I had to start looking for a developer and our artist and of course other people, our friends and family, to help fund the project, because we're all just personally funded. And but we actually started working on it, really working on it, like just 3 months prior to our socials launch, which was on October 27. So yeah,
Okay.
we've had 3 months of building.
Well, so you've had 3 months of building, but you've laid the groundwork to get to that point. There's a couple words that I picked up on their business plan. I love that, because you really can turn these projects into a business. And if you have a business, you have to have a business plan. These things take time. There are so many projects that are coming into this space, whether it's a money grab or whether it's a planned rug, or whether it's just an opportunity for people to be like, hey, I can draw a couple cartoon whatevers and have a PFP project and go out there and make a bunch of money in the NFT world. But that only lasts for so long. There's only so many of those that people are willing to throw their money at. At the end of the day, if you have something that is worth turning into a business, having a business plan, is important. And so I've seen a lot of projects that all of a sudden they pop up out of nowhere. I'm like, well, I've never heard of these guys. Last week, all of a sudden there's this new project. It's got all this hype behind it and they're getting ready to mint next month. And I'm like, okay, red flag. First of all, it takes a lot more than that. If you have any nuts and bolts underneath, the surface layer of what, your project can be, it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of planning, a lot of thinking. And so I love to hear that this is an opportunity for you to showcase that, hey, this is something that started in motion. Pretty much the seed was planted about a year ago, and then it grew into this, and then it grew into that, and all these offshoots. And before you know it, you're looking back, you've got this healthy, idea, this healthy tree, and it's getting ready to, come to fruition and be part of the CNFT space. So I know tentatively that you guys are planning on minting sometime in Q1 of 2023. Is there an approximate time frame that you're looking at? Because I know a lot of people, they get excited about a project like, hey, well, when is this thing going to mint? So if you can give us some sort of an idea as to when you're planning on minting this project, I think the people like myself who are excited about minting, we kind of want to know, when do we get to do this?
All right. So to give the short and sweet answer, we're probably looking into February for the mint. That's the
Okay.
most likely date. But we just we're almost done with all of the art, from our artist. He pretty much submitted all of his illustration work, and there's very little work left to be done in terms of the art and the collection, other than just generating the final assets. But the thing is, we don't really want to just mint it out as soon as it's ready. We part of our phase 1 plan is to ideally finish all of the components of our project first, to be able to deliver sort of the MVP of our project, to be able to present it to the Cardano community before we mint and take any money from our community, because we don't want to, it's important. It's more of a personal thing that we want to do, like sort of expressing our good faith by, hey, this is the proof. This is proof of what we're building, proof of what it can be, before before empty promises and taking money.
Are you guys hearing this? Speaking directly to the audience now, you guys that are here tuning into this, are you hearing what this gentleman is saying? Gosh, man, you're so humble and you're so gracious, and I wish everybody thought that way, because if everybody thought that way, we wouldn't have the problems that we have. in the space. People, like I said, people coming in and seeing the dollar signs before anything else and putting that as a priority and not really caring about, hey, I have some pride in what I've developed. I have a little bit of pride in all the hard work that I've done. And, to be a part of this community it's a privilege, and it's an honor. And if you have the idea and the mindset of, hey, I want to be able to give back to this community more than I can get from it, we have a better space and everybody gets to share. So I've told you this privately. I tell you publicly, I'm a huge fan of yours personally because I love the way you're approaching this whole idea. And, thank you for that. It's refreshing. I hope that a lot of people see this interview and a lot of founders and people who, maybe one day will become founders and aren't really there yet, but they're having this idea that, hey, I can do this too. This is the blueprint for how you develop a project, and if you do things right, it'll come back to you tenfold, 100-fold. I'm very excited to see, how this project grows and everything. And I truly mean that. I am a big fan of yours, bro. So having you on here for your first, actual interview is an honor for me because I'm going to look back at this one day and go, hey, I got there first. Ultimate CNFT making moves, baby. I have another question for you. It's kind of a two-part question. So, we're talking about, you're going to mint potentially in February-ish. I love that you have not given yourself a hardcore date that you're saying, hey, we're going to, bring all these things to life before we actually go take money from anybody. And I love that. So, there's a little bit of leeway there and that's perfect. Nobody's in a rush to do things right. But so tell me a little bit about, like, I guess your long-term goals for the project and maybe as well some of the utility with how this is going to work, because we haven't really talked about utility or, the star registry or how these things are going to come into play. And obviously you're here for the long haul. So I'd like to know a little bit about this, kind of a two-part question, if you don't mind hitting two for one. Tell me where you're at.
All right. So the way we typically present our project is by stating our long-term vision because we already have it. The
Mm-hmm.
purpose of this entire thing, this entire endeavor is to to establish the first globally accepted platform for star ownership. Now, it's a bit of a crazy idea, but we believe we can get to it through the power of social proofing. In other words, by building a community, rallying behind this crazy concept, and it's their social vote, their choice, their belief in this platform that we're creating that will lead to global acceptance of, hopefully the standardized form of owning stars. Um, and that's really the main goal, but every day is, everyday
Yes.
life, is filled with just, smaller and smaller goals. So I guess we can top it up right now. So our business plan, we sort of sectioned it off into three major phases. So we have our establishing phases, our scaling phases, and then our end game. So obviously right now we are in our establishing phases, wherein at the end of phase one, we want to be able to present you know an MVP again, like I said, an MVP of our product to the Cardano community before taking any money. And that's sort of the first main objective because it's also the MVP for us, to find out if we can even pull this off and
Mm-hmm.
if the concept is as magical as it is in our heads. That's how we'll know. And over the course of maybe two, three, or four more establishing phases, what we're going to be doing is really just improving and building upon this base and this foundation that we've built until it reaches a point where we our team and the community determine that this product is ready to be presented and marketed to the ocean of the Web 2 space, which is the beginning of our
Mm-hmm.
scaling phases. See, that's really the core product that we're trying to build here, which is a cash flow or revenue generating project that takes from outside of the Cardano space and then gives back to our core community, which ties into the profit sharing utility that we have tacked onto our main collection NFTs. Um, so that's sort of the I'd say short to mid-term uh, major milestones that we're trying to achieve. And
Okay. Okay. I
the
had.
two-part of question, the second part, the second part of your question was utility, right? For our main collection. So Now, the way we do our main collection, the way we did our main collection, we thought about this star registry concept, right? So of course we did a bit of research, who has done it before, and we saw that in ETH there was this one that did it, but the way they did it was their art was sort of this ball of fire, very literal, what a star would look like, and then it's just a bunch of details, and it didn't really do well, luckily for us. So the reason why we so that was useful in a lot of ways because it made us realize, hey, this is such a niche product, and
Hmm.
we're pe- we're pitching this idea to already such a niche space. So
Hmm.
what we tried to do was, how do we make this as unniche as possible as we can, and we did that. I think we achieved that um, by integrating things that everyone in the space can understand. So our NFTs is not just the star registry; it also has an art rooted in lore and a
Hmm.
story, which is it's a generative art collection as well. So anybody in the space can understand that. And the
Hmm.
second part is that it's also the the provenance for a digital star in our star map. So it sort of borrows concepts from you know land-based metaverse, because owning our NFT is also owning this, piece of digital real estate, except it's in this 3D space.
Right.
And then the third one is, like I said, we do have sort of this investment utility baked into it in the form of 70% profit share across all the net profits across all revenue streams after the main collection mints.
Wow. Wow. Look, that I can see why you approach this from the standpoint of having a business model, because this is, again, this is not like your typical, PFP minting a project, and calling it a day, and maybe having a few bells and whistles here, maybe making another third, fourth, fifth collection or whatever, series two, three, four. This is a big idea, and it takes a long time for a big idea to really unfold. To where now you look back and you have this whole thing accomplished, and that's a lot of utility, and that's a lot of long term goals. And so obviously, those things take funding, and all those things to be able to fit the pieces of the puzzle together like that takes a lot. And so that's very, I would say, very ambitious to take an idea like this and say, we're going to turn this into a total project. We're going to also, add some revenue shares to the people who are minting this project. I'm sure you've got, rarities and all that stuff across the board. Really cool art. Um, I'm excited to be about a part of this. It's one of those things that obviously I'm going to be minting this project. I know a lot about what you've been doing because I've been watching you grow, the way you have been growing. I'm going to ask you some more specific questions about that in a minute. But one question I want to know from you is, why Cardano? Why choose to launch your project on Cardano as opposed to Ethereum? I heard you mention a project similar like Ethereum. It kind of fizzled out and didn't really work right. I don't think that they had the right ability to take that sort of a concept and put it into fruition. But why Cardano, bro?
Well, I've always been I would call myself sort of a Cardano maxi. I know you are as well.
Yes,
It's
sir.
it's pretty much the only altcoin that I hold. I do hold some Bitcoin, and it's just the philosophy and how uncompromising the team, well, Charles man,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
the team is with their principles and their approach. It's just sort of resonated with me the most. I believe
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones sticking to the actual spirit of crypto,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what got me, man. You call it
I
I'm
agree.
not a tech guy, so I don't understand any of this the complicated stuff that people say it's the best. I don't really know, but it's it's almost unanimous among all of the smartest looking people online, everyone. And
I
it's just the
agree.
philosophy. It's that. And in terms of the CNFT space, though, I I have been a CNFT degen for since last year, since near the beginning. I just missed the claimants, and that still kind of hurts. So I've been here a while, and it's the space that has, I'd say, the least. Um, it's the most organic, I would say.
I agree. Yeah,
And
yeah, totally.
yeah, and it also shows in this bear market how resilient the community is, and
Yep.
especially, if you take a look at how hard Ethan, I don't know if I should say, but the other ones fell, and
Yes, yes, they have fallen.
yeah,
How the mighty have fallen. Yes, very much so. And Cardano has not had the same fallout that some of these other, and you can say it. I mean, this is my show. I can say whatever I want. I've always been outspoken. Solana's the perfect example. I've been saying for 6 months, Solana's broken. Solana's broken. One day Solana's going to break, and it's not going to come back online. And it's unfortunate for a lot of those people who are investing in the NFT space because Solana was number two in volume. Still, I think is number two in volume. And you look at that, and you look at something like Cardano, and it doesn't even compare. I even look at Ethereum, and Ethereum's got all the big money, all the big hype, and all this other stuff, and the billions of dollars being exchanged and whatever. But you look at Cardano, and it runs so much smoother. It runs so much quicker. The fees are so much better. The communities as a whole, excluding some of the junk out of the space, but the communities as a whole are a lot better. People are collaborating in Cardano. Like, you won't really see that level of collaboration between projects in any other space, in my opinion. So, I mean, you definitely chose the right one. I'm glad that you chose the right one, and I'm glad that so many of the good projects that are bringing stuff here that are here for the long haul have chosen Cardano. And it's like you said, Charles, man, right? We talked about this earlier. What a great T-shirt to get Charles on there, right? And almost have a meme and just be like, Charles, man, because those who know, they know. And at the end of the day, I think it's like the tortoise and the hare. Cardano, it was in competition with Ethereum. I've talked before on my channel when I was doing more crypto stuff. I was a crypto YouTuber, and I was like, hey, competition's healthy, but in my opinion, you look at who's got staying power, sustainability, and who's got the best projection, the best ideas, and the way to implement them. And in my personal opinion, that's Cardano. So I definitely share your thoughts there. And I've watched you guys grow. I've watched your Discord numbers grow. I've watched your Twitter numbers grow. I know that you've been very engaged, doing Twitter Spaces and getting on there and talking with other people. You're very involved in your community on Discord, and that's exactly why your organic growth is a reflection of your project and your organic mindset as to how to bring everything to light. And what I want to know a little bit besides yourself and a little bit besides about your co-founder that you tell me about, tell me a little bit about some of your team. I know that you've got a team that is continuing to build and continuing to develop. And let's give some credit where credit's due, because it takes a lot to run a project. And so you've got some other team members doing other things. Tell me a little bit about the development of that.
yeah. So we have our lead dev,
Mm-hmm.
Equinox. So he's the president of a local blockchain web and software development firm that has he's taken on some big name local brands as clients, which,
Mm-hmm.
however, if you're not from the Philippines, you'd never hear of them. Uh, and they also have taken uh, multiple NFT projects as clients in the past, uh,
Okay.
building blockchain games and such. So he currently dedicated five of his team members from his company to working on Ad Astrium. And the story of how we got connected to them was we it was just me and Nico, and then we had this idea, and so we really had to go around looking for a developer. And when we met Equinox, he actually quoted us like something like 25,000 USD to build out the star map that we were pitching to him. But
Uh-huh.
he liked the idea so much that now we're on a profit sharing agreement, and we have a 10-year contract with them. So
I love it.
they're they're really in it with us. And
Mm.
so yeah, I'm really thankful for these guys. They also gave us a this wouldn't happen without them. And next up is our
Wow.
artist. He's also a pretty cool story because his name's Atan, and he's just this immensely talented illustrator who, throughout most of his career, we feel has been so undervalued. I mean, mainly he's just been living off of commissions for like 20 bucks an hour, and which is so low considering his talent. I mean, if you're able to take a look at his Instagram page, which is on our Teams channel in our Discord, you'll see that, you know, the level of his talent is not worth just that. And he's sort of not an isolated case here in the Philippines. I mean, it just took me like 2 weeks to find him, you know, and I
Mm,
didn't even offer him money, just nothing up front, just profit share as well. And there's such an overwhelming excess of undervalued talent here,
I
which is
agree.
why we're confident. Yeah, which is also why we're confident in being able to expand our art department to really flesh out and build out the story and lore and expand that component of our project. So yeah, those are the you know the that's the team that contributes the most. We also have other people who support us, but yeah, those are the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, those are some pretty good highlights. You talk about somebody who comes in there and is, says, "Hey, it's going to cost this much money to build what you're trying to do," and then all of a sudden he becomes so sold on what you're doing that he's willing to take on a profit share rather than just make his money and move on to the next one. Actually, says a lot. I'm glad that that kind of worked out for you because it sounds to me like you're the kind of guy who you see other people's abilities and talents, and you're like, hey, like your artist is a perfect example. This person, you're like, this guy's so much more valuable than where he's at right now. Let's take him on and then let's all kind of grow and succeed together and share the wealth together and share the success and progress together. And I love that. And I think good things happen to good people. And I love to see you have an opportunity to represent that because you're coming from a humble heart and a genuine person who really is like, hey, it's not just about me, it's about everyone that surrounds me as well. And that's what it takes to have a team to operate successfully, especially with a big idea like Ad Astrium, to make all these pieces work together. This is the kind of environment that you've got to have, and it starts with you at the top. I mean, let's be honest with here. You're the face of this project, and you're giving so much credit to other people where credit is due. But as well, it all comes right back to you, man. So. Big congratulations to what you've accomplished so far, and I know that's nothing because you have so much more ahead of you. But really, at the end of the day, I think this is a special project. I'm very honored to be able to showcase it here, and I can't wait to see how you guys do and how you guys grow. And as more people begin to talk about your project, the community at large starts to find out these gems that are just sitting there waiting to be, more discovered by the population at large. And so, that's what we're here to do. And, I appreciate your time being in on this interview. I know, again, you start at 2 a.m., to accommodate my time over here. And, big respect to you. You're doing all the things that you need to do so far. I think you're doing everything right. And I think a lot of people are very excited about what you're doing besides myself. Again, I go back to saying how I've watched your community grow organically over time. And, I want to ask a little bit before we kind of close out this interview here in a few minutes, and I'll give you a chance to have some closing thoughts. But tell me a little bit about your OG collection because it's kind of like a pass. Is it kind of like what would you say, like a genesis? Does this thing have future utility? Give me a little bit, a few hints about that, and how did they get out into the public? Did you mint them? Did you give them away? Did people earn them? Talk about your OG collection here a little bit.
All right. So our OG collection is called the Supernova collection, and to me, I like to call it the team Ad Astrium's love letter to our most dedicated supporters, because well, firstly,
That's good.
uh, the way we're releasing it out into the public is that we've dedicated 300 out of the 333 supply, um, just for the community. So they have all the freedom, all the choice to earn it by
Mm-hmm.
participating in what we call the Nova missions, which is found in our Discord. So this thing is basically open to everybody. Anybody watching and who's interested in earning one of our Supernova NFTs can just basically enter a Discord and just start doing it. And then only 33 will be used for marketing and such as giveaways and stuff. But in terms of utility, um, yes, it does have sort of this uh, pass utility, but that's only one aspect of it. The idea is to make this NFT uh, the sort of the a must-have for, for true OGs, for whales, or for people who are
Mm,
actually interested in collecting the Astrid stars, the main collection. So what it does, it is mostly it buffs the utility that's on the main collection. So
I see. I see.
yeah, yes. So
Hey,
yeah,
that's good stuff, man. Not that you have to give away any of your future, stuff here or anything. No alpha drop necessary. But it sounds to me like it's worth going out there and being a part of one of those. But it's not one of those things that you just get a hold of and then it goes up in value and then you flip it. It's very integral into what you're building as well. On top of that, correct? Is that what I'm getting from that?
yes, that's correct.
Uh, Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I love it. I mean, it sounds to me like you guys have really been paying attention to the space and taking, your personal experience from your journey as a collector yourself, and being like, hey, this is the things I like about some projects, this is the things I don't like, and you integrate those things or keep those things out of the project that you're building. And there's a lot of experience to be had there with somebody who's been in the space for a while. Like you said, you talked a little bit earlier about how you missed a couple, you missed clays. Look, if I sat there and told you about all the stuff I missed because I feel like I came into this space like maybe a month or two too late by the time I'd actually gotten here. And it's crazy because I shoot myself in the foot because I've been a Cardano maxi for a long time and I just wasn't into the NFT world. I had a little splash in Ethereum and it just didn't resonate with me well. I lost a bunch of Ethereum. I didn't know what I was doing, and by the time I came to Cardano, I could easily say I was a little bit too late, or I could look back a few years from now and say I'm glad I got in early. So I love the fact that you're doing things right, and this isn't even an OG pass that you guys minted, right? You said like you're handing them out to people who are integrated in your community, and that's how you build a community. That's how you strengthen the community, and that's how you form a lot of bonds. And again, 10 out of 10 across the board, my man. We're about to cut this interview short. I can't believe we've been talking for over 40 minutes. It's incredible how time flies when you really, get so geeked out on these things that we all love so much in this space. But is there anything else that you'd like to mention before we go ahead and close this out? Is there anything I forgot and anything that you want anyone to know, any shout outs that you have for anybody? Now is your time to do it, my man. The stage is all yours.
Oh, well, I think we covered most of it, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to highlight our white paper, which is available on our website right now. It's basically everything you need to know about everything we're doing. It's a
Mm-hmm.
bit of a read though. There's quite a lot in there in there. So anybody who's willing to to take that plunge, I think you'll find something worthwhile with our project.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, all the links to everything that you have, all your socials, everything that's necessary will be in the description box below. So you guys can always check that out. And of course, on Ultimate CNFT, I will be doing a dedicated deep dive video on your project, probably closer to mint, more when we have a mint date and we have a mint cost and all those things. So I will be very involved in the development and the further, showcasing of this project. I'm excited to do that. And Keith, look, thank you so much for being here, man. God bless you and your journey and your hard work and your family and everybody that you're bringing on board and everybody that you're helping out and you branching out and getting yourself out of your comfort zone again is a huge respect for me. And I to those of you who have made it all the way through this interview, I've got to say this is one of the best interviews that I've had, one of the best projects that I've showcased here, and it just really speaks from the heart. And I hope that like I said earlier, future people who are involved in wanting to become into the founder's seat are taking notes. And again, if you've made it this far, you're a true supporter of Ultimate CNFT. I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, share this anywhere you guys want. Anyone has the ability to take what I produce on YouTube and share it. We all want to get the word out that Cardano is the place to be. We all have a circle of influence that we want to share with. So, Keith, congratulations for being a part of the Cardano ecosystem space, and thank you so much for your time and your efforts.
Thank you so much, Mike, and I can't thank you enough, with all the help that you've given us and all the advice. And I consider myself really lucky to have met you, sir, so early on in our journey. And it's such a pleasure. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to be able to call you my friend.
Well, thank you. And I call you my friend as well. And our relationship is continuing to grow. And projects like yours are the ones that I want to continue to involve myself with because of what you bring to the space. So, hey, listen, thank you very much for joining Ultimate CNFT. For myself and on behalf of Keith, we're out of here. We all got work to do, and this man's got to get some sleep. So, hey, peace and love, and God bless. We'll check you on the next one. Keep an eye out for that future video. Peace.